Okay, so I've washed out that lighter color in my palette and I'm ready for my next layer. So I'm going to layer in a little bit of a darker value over that lighter value. So I really want to look and analyze it. Again, I'm looking at my color photograph, but it's in my phone, which is recording. So I have this black and white to sort of look at for these values, and I'm also looking at a mirror. Okay, so I'm gonna use my smoother brush this time, and I'm gonna get some of these colors back on here. Mix a slightly darker skin tone. And what I'm going to do is add a little bit of yellow and a little bit of this sort of bronzy olive skin tone in there, just to make it a little bit darker. And the yellow to make it a little warmer. If it ends up being too warm, you add in a cooler color like blue or the red. So I don't want to add in too much of this, but just to cool it back down just a little bit. Add in a little bit of red. Okay. So this is sort of that slightly darker skin tone. So I'm going to just try to match values, okay? So I'm going to brush it down over in here. Along my lid, upper eyelid. And you can have a little bit of water on your brush and that will help you sort of get a smoother stroke. Into this area where it's a little bit darker. We're just gradually building up to the darker areas. Anytime that your pencil line sort of disappears, don't worry too much. If you are really concerned, you can always just like have a pencil ready and then just kind of get it back in. But I couldn't be concerned about it for now. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a cleaner brush and then just with water along the edge, I'm going to sort of melt those two colors together. Meld them together. So again, along the edge, just with some water on my brush now, not a lot of color, I'm going to sort of blend them out. So that it creates a smooth surface or transition between the two. So again, this is a pretty clean brush. It just has some water on it. And then right along the edge, sort of finesse it, rub along the edge there. And I'm sort of pulling that darker color out. So I'm just slowly building up values. Now there's also some areas where they're more highlighted. So I might even take a kind of watered down white. So it's got a lot of water on my brush. Okay. And I might just sort of brush that in areas where I know there's some deeper highlights. Make sure you have that water on your brush, because that's what's going to help you melt those colors together and transition them fluidly instead of make it choppy. So then I sort of, with this cleaner brush, it has some water on it. Again, if I want the color to sort of come out into that white I put down, I'm basically pulling the color with my brush out into the white area. So there's a smooth transition. I just keep building up like this with dark and light values. I'm only going to focus on the skin tone for now. I'm not going to worry about anything inside the eye or the eyelashes or the eyebrows until the skin tone is ready. So you need to get checked off by me to make sure your skin tone is ready and that you have all those different values inside of your painting before we can move on. Because if we go ahead and did the eyelashes now and we forgot how dark it gets in these areas, then we're gonna have to do some problem solving. So you're not allowed to do your eyelashes. That's the last thing that you're going to do. Okay, you're not allowed to paint anything in your eye. That's one of the last things too. So the eyeball and then the eyelashes and hairs of your eyebrow will be some of the last parts of this painting process. So if you have a few different values mixed on here, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to come up with some transitions between lights and darks. Really gets really dark in here. Again, you can always use a thinner brush. I have a lot of control over the brushes because I've been painting for a really long time. So if you need to be using this flat brush that's really small before you develop your balance, then use the tools that you have. So it will take a little bit of time. I know this seems like it's really fast, like, oh my gosh, it's already done already. It's not. I'm gonna have to do a lot of back and forth, but also I've been doing this a very long time. So don't get discouraged the first time. Try your best. When you get stuck, you can always come to me for help. Whenever you want a color to melt into the next color, you clean off your brush a little bit, get some water on it, and then brush it, pull the color into it. So I'm pulling that color. Trying to match those values. Okay, so it's going to take a while to build it up, glazing those colors on there again and again. Okay, so there it is so far.